If you're looking for a credit card that's great for travel and for racking up points, you might look towards the Capital One Venture Rewards. But you also might be looking at some other popular competitors as well. And don't get me wrong, there are a few great credit cards out there around the $100 annual fee mark. Each of these cards has really solid point multipliers, a robust list of airline transfer partners, and they all claim to give you the best value. And in this video, I'm going to be breaking down the specific reward structure of the $95 annual fee Capital One Venture card. And of course, we're going to compare its features to the other competing cards in this category, so by the end of the video, you should have an understanding of which card will fit your lifestyle the best. And if you do enjoy the video, it would really help me out if you hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Now let's get into it, starting with the basics. The Venture Rewards card is technically Capital One's mid-level travel card, sitting right in between the base level Venture One card, which has a $0 annual fee, and the Venture X card, which has a $395 annual fee and is Capital One's most premium card. And the Venture Rewards, as I mentioned, comes in at a fairly reasonable $95 annual fee. And for your rewards multipliers, you don't have any complicated categories to think about. You're going to get a flat 2 times miles on all purchases all of the time. However, with this card, you do get 5 times miles when you book either hotels or rental cars through the Capital One travel portal. You're also going to get a $120 annual credit that can go towards TSA PreCheck or global entry. And there's a $50 hotel credit that can be applied towards any stay in the Capital One lifestyle collection. And finally, there are no foreign transaction fees with this card when you use it abroad. Now, while the 2x point multiplier makes this a solid card already, I think one of the strongest things about this card is going to be the welcome bonus. And that's because Capital One typically offers a bonus of 75,000 miles after hitting a spend limit within the first 3 months. And at the moment, on top of that, they're offering a $250 travel credit for any booking made through the Capital One portal. So when you put together the miles and the credit from that welcome bonus, you're looking at least $1,000 worth of value. I mean, that welcome bonus alone can pay for your annual fee 10 times over. And keep in mind, depending on how savvy you are with transferring out your miles to different airlines, you may be able to stretch that value beyond $1,000. Now, when it comes to the key elements of the reward structure, that should really cover almost everything you need to know, but there are some other competing cards out there that have a similar structure that you should know about. And that's why I wanted to kick off our card comparison here with 2 no annual fee cards with the Wells Fargo Active Cash and the Citi Double Cash card. Now, these cards have a very similar earning structure to the Capital One Venture Rewards card in that they get a 2x multiplier on all purchases. However, with the Active Cash and the Double Cash card, that 2x multiplier comes in the form of 2% cash back rather than points. And with that cash back, you can put that money towards anything you want, whether it be travel or something else. So you may think that because they have no annual fee, the Double Cash card and the Active Cash card might be better options compared to the Venture Rewards. And honestly, if you're someone who rarely travels and for the most part you stay within the United States, then either the Wells Fargo or the Citi card might be better value for you long term. However, both of those cards carry 3% foreign transaction fees, they don't have any travel protections, and on top of that, they have much smaller sign-up bonuses, usually just around $200. So even if you travel as little as once a year, the value that you get with the Venture Rewards card for the first few years is probably going to exceed that of these no annual fee cards just because that welcome bonus is so much higher. So as we move on to our travel card comparisons, I'll just quickly jog your memory with the key features of the Venture Rewards card. You're going to have that $95 annual fee, a 2 times multiplier on all purchases, a 5x multiplier on hotels and rental cars booked through the portal, a 75,000 point welcome bonus, which is occasionally supplemented with a $250 credit, and finally a $50 hotel credit. You're going to get a simple reward structure with no hoops to jump through and a really powerful points multiplier. And another important thing to point out is that the Capital One travel portal does have a price match function, which is not something that Chase or Amex are currently offering. And at least for me, having that price match there just gives me much more confidence when booking either flights or hotels directly through the portal. So moving on to one of the biggest competitors of the Venture Rewards card, we have the Chase Sapphire Preferred. The Sapphire Preferred, just like the Venture, is going to have a $95 annual fee. But with the Sapphire Preferred, you're going to be able to get 5 times points on all travel booked through the Chase portal, including flights. You're also going to get 3 times points on dining, as well as 3 times points on online groceries. Then you get another 3x multiplier on streaming services, and then a 2x multiplier on travel that's booked direct. And beyond those categories, you're going to get 1 point per dollar spent on all other purchases. At the moment, the Sapphire Preferred has a comparable sign-up bonus to the Venture Rewards of 75,000 points if you hit the spend limit limit within the first 3 months. And Chase is also going to give you a $50 annual hotel credit with the Sapphire Preferred, and this credit is slightly more versatile than what you get with Capital One because it can be applied to any hotel booked through the Chase portal as opposed to a hotel in a specific collection. Now, the Chase Sapphire Preferred is a great entry-level travel card, and I've actually had this card for many years. But one thing I've found, at least for me personally, is that it's not the best card for accumulating the most amount of points throughout the year. While the 3x multiplier on dining is pretty convenient, I almost never get online groceries, so I'm leaving a lot of points on the table there. And eventually, I just found that most of my spend on the Chase card was falling into that 1x category and just not racking me up many points. Now, that being said, the 5x travel multiplier is really powerful, but remember, you're only getting that multiplier if you use the Chase travel portal, and for me, that hasn't always been the most convenient. Chase doesn't currently offer a price match, and I've been able to find slightly better deals for both flights and hotels when booking direct. These are just some important things to keep in mind when choosing a travel card. And finally, with the last travel card in our comparison, we have the American Express Green card. And this is, in many respects, the original travel card. Now, right off the bat, the Amex Green does have a $150 annual fee, which makes it $55 more expensive than both the Venture Rewards and the Sapphire Preferred. But the Amex is going to have a very impressive 3 times point multiplier on all travel and transit purchases. And just to give you a sense of how encompassing this category is, you're going to get 3 times points on flights, hotels, car rentals, Airbnbs, trains, buses, ferries, and even the subway. When it comes to the utility of a travel multiplier, you're not going to find anything better than that. Beyond that, you're going to get 3 times points on dining and then 1 point on all other purchases. And the current welcome bonus with the Amex Green isn't quite as strong at the competition, coming in at 40,000 points. Now, if you're a very frequent traveler, especially someone who likes to book direct, then that 3x multiplier is going to have you racking up points incredibly quickly. However, if you're outside the US in either Europe or Asia, you may run into some issues with getting American Express accepted. That being said, I did find that last time I traveled abroad, I found that more and more places were starting to accept Amex. Now, while this card is still really strong for avid travelers, the higher annual fee and the lower initial welcome bonus means it might not be the best option for everyone. And that's going to bring us back to the Capital One Venture Rewards card, and more specifically, the Venture miles you earn and how you redeem them. Because in my opinion, the redemption options with the Venture card is one place where they stand out from the crowd. Now, when it comes to redeeming your miles, there are 3 main options to choose from. First up, you can use your miles to cover any travel purchase made on your card within the last 90 days. And those miles will cover your travel purchases at a 1-to-1 ratio. You're essentially able to get cash back on travel purchases. Now, your second option is going to be using your miles to book travel through the Capital One portal. Through the portal, you can apply any travel credits you may have from the welcome bonus, and you also have the opportunity to get 5 times points on any hotels you may book. And just to reiterate, you are protected by a price match with Capital One, so you don't have to worry as much about wasting points on a more expensive booking like you do occasionally have to worry when using Chase or Amex portals. And then finally, your third main option for redeeming your miles is going to be to transfer them to an airline or hotel partner with Capital One. I'll put a list of all the Capital One airline partners on screen now. I've personally found that the international options are really strong, however, the domestic options are just a little bit more limited. And for those interested in the Capital One hotel partners, your options are going to be Choice Privilege, Wyndham, I Prefer, and Accor. Now, transferring points to airline partners can require a little bit more research, and it may also require that you're a little bit more flexible on the dates you want to travel in order to get the best deal. But depending on the booking you find, transferring those miles to airline points can allow you to get more value. But regardless of how or where you book your travel, you can kind of take comfort in the fact that you'll always get that 2x point multiplier no matter what. So who is the Capital One Venture Rewards card going to be perfect for? Well, as I mentioned earlier in the video, there are a ton of great no annual fee cards with reward multipliers that do rival the Venture. But the vast majority of those no annual fee cards do carry foreign transaction fees, which means they're not going to be a great one card solution even for those who travel infrequently. With a flat 2x reward structure, a useful travel portal, and no foreign transaction fees, the Capital One Venture Rewards does tick a lot of boxes for a $95 annual fee card. And with that welcome bonus of 75,000 points and a $250 credit, that annual fee is paid for many times over. And if you average just $400 a month of spend on the card, then that annual fee is going to be covered by the 2x point multiplier alone. I need to spend almost double that to justify the annual fee of my Chase Sapphire Preferred. So at least for the meantime, the Venture Rewards is going to be my go-to travel card moving forward. But you should definitely take a moment to evaluate your own spending habits to see which one of these cards makes the most sense for you. And guys, that is going to do it for this video. Please let me know in the comments below what you think of this card. I'd love to know. Also, if there's any other cards you're interested in me reviewing, please let me know as well. Thank you guys so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel if you've enjoyed, and I will see you in the next video.